John Kensett, landscape painting, and New York tourism. 19th century American artist John Frederick Kensett is known for his famous landscape paintings of the Northeast United States. The scenery he depicts are from areas such as Long Island, the shores of Connecticut, upstate New York, and the New England area. Being a famous artist from the renowned Hudson River School, Kensett's work was seen all around the United States. Known as the man of guidebooks, Kensett illustrated many tourist handbooks, including most notably Lotus Eating a Summer Book in 1852. Kensett's works could be viewed through three unique and inspiring lenses: the scientific experience, the historical association experience, and the aesthetically beautiful experience. Building on his fame, Kensett would also found the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City and would become an important figure in the Luminist movement. Kensett paintings and other American landscape painters heavily impacted tourism to the Hudson River Valley and created a new home for American art. Born in Cheshire, Connecticut in 1816, Kensett's early life would impact immensely on his future as an artist. Kensett started off as an engraver, working in his father's shop while also traveling to New York City to apprentice with a family friend. But when Kensett's father died in 1829, he returned home and continued to engrave for a short period before taking off to Europe. In 1840, with some of his art friends, including Asher B. Durand, who's pictured, Kensett journeyed to Europe, first stopping in London to study the art of the museums such as the National Gallery and the Dulwich College Collection. After some time, the group moved to Paris, inspired by American artist community of the Beaux Arts and socializing with them. After the death of his grandmother, though, Kensett returned to America and continued back and forth to Europe for some time. By 1848, Kensett began working on his iconic landscape paintings of the Northeast United States. It was then, in 1851, where Kensett started to come into his own. He illustrated images for Lotus Eating, a friend's travel book about the Rhode Island coastline. His talent for this style of art and some ideas from the tours of Europe allowed Kensett to freely create the shores and landscapes he wished. Luminist methods and transcendentalism ideas made his work unique to other landscapers of the 19th century, such as Cole and Church. In the required article, Rebecca Bedell talks about ways that people can understand Kensett's art and how that impacted tourism to the area. These ways can be experienced through science, history, and beauty. Each of these three views attracted people who admired these niche parts of paintings and generated more tourist foot traffic to these areas. The scientific view. The scientific world's popularity began to grow in America through these landscape paintings and through many guidebooks as mentioned earlier. Famous guidebooks such as Scribner's Monthly in 1870 and Mountaineering in the Sierra Nevadas in 1872 depicted landscapes with scenographical geology, beautiful landscapes that were a natural wonder to the eye. Many geologists were happy about the blossoming science because their guidebooks were popular. Books such as these were key to increasing tourism to the Hudson River Valley because these publications could grip the reader by charging their imagination through science. Many tourists to the Hudson River Valley were armed with these books along with tools such as rock hammers to collect samples of the natural world. The details of the reports helped inform entrepreneurial tourists of surveys. These were then used for planning railroads and hotels throughout the area. Some railroad executives even lobbying congressmen to get their way. But while that is a negative effect of tourism, Kensett's work still inspired many. Kensett's Beacon Rock is a perfect example of a mix between science and art that captivates the mind. The associationist view. The idea behind the associationist experience derives from our brain's interpretation of these beautiful landscapes and the ideas, emotions, and associations they generate. In Europe, many artists and philosophers look down upon America's beauty. English writer John Ruskin even calling America deficient in landscape. But this associationist experience was aided by America's rise as a nation. The land that became such a popular tourist spot was also rich with history from the American Revolutionary War and literature history with writers such as Washington Irving from the area. American landscape artists could indulge these historical associations by drawing, which Thomas Cole engraved in Kokura's Curse and Kensett painted in Lake George. While this historic associationist view impacted tourism to the Hudson River Valley, it did limit the way people could view art, as it limits the interpretation down to one singular historical event. Natural beauty view. The aesthetic way of viewing nature had its roots in 18th century European picturesque art, Claude Lorraine being the most notable artist to paint this. While this was already popular in Europe, many guidebook writers began to explore this method of viewing a landscape in America. Books such as The White Hill and Picturesque America helped those tourists in search of finding the most beautiful scenes of natural beauty. Spots will be recommended depending on the nature setting or weather. Viewing a location at sunset, mid-afternoon, or just after a shower would allow the natural beauty to show the softness and clarity that was similar to the colors of a painting. Many of these guidebooks refer to the paintings of Kensett as an inspiration for the rebirth of experiencing America's natural beauty. Hudson River Scene in 1857 is probably the most notable of Kensett's work to encompass this aesthetic beauty. Scientific, historic association, and aesthetic beauty are the three ways to experience Kensett's landscape painting. These three experiences each uniquely impacted tourism to the Hudson River Valley through guidebooks, reports, and the aforementioned paintings. The works of Kensett and many others in the early days of the Hudson River School revolutionized the American art movements of the 19th century and tourism to the Hudson River Valley.